Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce Congressman Holman.
Thank you very much, Principal Laprine. I'm glad to be joined by all board members, teachers, students, and elected officials. Thank you, Supervisor Brancati, Legislator Harcum for joining me here today, Elisa Montino and Denise Martabano for your environmental work. I look forward to hearing from you and working with you. Thank you, Donna Walsh, for making this event possible. And I'm proud to announce the passage of legislation in the House of Representatives that will help schools like this enjoy a cleaner, safer, greener, and more efficient future, and relieve some of the burden on local taxpayers. One of the primary challenges of every school district is to maintain the actual school buildings. Every child has the right to expect that his or her school will be safe, clean, and modern. Anything less cheats our children and robs them of the ability to meet their full potential. The American Society of Civil Engineers has tagged the quality of our schools with a grade of D on its national report card. With grades like those, it's clear that our schools could use some extra help. The 21st Century High-Performing Public Schools Facilities Act, I didn't write the title, but I am a co-sponsor. These titles seem to get longer every year, but nonetheless, the High-Performing Public Schools Facilities Act would help fill the void by authorizing $6.4 billion in grants to school districts for use in repairing, modernizing, and greening our schools. This money, which would be distributed in the same proportion as Title I funds, would help schools repair and modernize key infrastructure like roofs, electrical systems, ventilation, and plumbing, conduct air quality assessments, comply with safety codes, reduce exposure to dangerous substances like asbestos and mold, and make other necessary improvements. It's no secret that America's schools, the very buildings in which our children spend a majority of their time, are in dire need of assistance. In an area that's growing as quickly as the Hudson Valley, the demand for clean, safe school space is only going to increase in the years ahead. These problems must be addressed, but they are too costly, and property taxpayers are already being hit too hard by property tax for us to expect these upgrades and green solutions to be solely placed on the back of the property taxpayer. That would fall under the unfunded mandate category, or underfunded mandates category, similar to No Child Left Behind, which was never funded by the federal government to the extent that was promised. That's why I'm glad that this legislation authorizes direct federal assistance to take some of the pressure off of the local tax burden. Once it's fully funded, the 19th Congressional District would receive almost $6 million in funding from this bill. It's only a first step, but it's a good first step to go a long way in bringing about the health, safety, and educational benefits for our children and tax relief to their parents. The improvements funded under this bill will also help Hudson Valley schools embark on a green, sustainable path. The majority of funds in the bill are directed to improvements that line up with green building standards, like the LEED or Energy Star standard, and can also be used for the installation of renewable power like solar photovoltaic cells. We also, our office and my staff will work with you as hard as you would like to on obtaining private funding as well to augment the state funding that's available, the federal funding under this bill that will be available with grants from private foundations. And we succeeded recently at Arlington High School in the town of Poughkeepsie in Dutchess County, getting $108,000 grant for them from a foundation, which was the second half of the funding for them to put solar panels on the new wing of their high school. A project that originated with the students. That was one of the most exciting things to me about this, is that much of the impetus, whereas this bill may be coming from Congress, much of the impetus on the ground is coming from students saying, what can we do? How can our school be more energy efficient and have less of an impact, a negative impact on climate change and on our drastically detrimental energy situation. And by the way, the last press conference we had a little while ago, somebody asked me if I believed that global warming was actually happening, and I said in watching the video from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, which previously was known as the city that never floods, now being under 12 feet of water, and the downstream communities preparing for flooding also. Coming on top of the monstrous flooding in Arkansas and Missouri earlier this year, the cyclone in Myanmar, the tornado damage in Indiana, the 3 50-year floods in the last 5 years that we've had here in the 19th District, which have caused damage where the Delaware, the Minnesink, and the Wallkill rivers in Orange County all flooded at the same time that the 10 Mile in my hometown of Dover flooded, those same 3 storms. I believe we're already seeing it. And it's not just that things are getting warmer, but that the extreme weather phenomena are getting more extreme. And that's what the computer models of climate change project. And what the insurance companies, by the way, are projecting. So at any rate, making our schools more energy efficient will also make them healthier places for our children to spend time, our students to learn. They will be more valuable to our communities. Hopefully they will help to increase property values, which are taking a beating in the current economy, reduce operating costs, creating a win-win-win scenario for all of us. In these economic times, the bill will also provide a valuable shot in the arm to the economy by creating jobs, quality construction jobs, to meet the demand for school improvements. When this bill is signed into law, it will create 100,000 good-paying jobs for roofing contractors, construction workers, architects, and engineers. It's estimated that 10,000 of those jobs will be in New York. I am confident that by relieving the burden on taxpayers, by greening and modernizing our schools, by boosting the economy, this 21st century high-performing Public Schools Facilities Act would assure us an A+. It's already passed the House with flying colors. I urge the Senate and the President to move it along to graduation. I thank you for listening and ready to take any questions.